In 2013, the BV-LAC project ended after running for 10 years in the Alaotra lake region of Madagascar. The project's target group was a large number of smallholders. The aim of the project was to encourage them to adopt the 3 principles of conservation agriculture: permanent soil cover, reduced mechanical soil disturbance, and crop rotation. The motivation behind the project was a desire to develop a more sustainable, non-irrigated agriculture in Madagascar. The Alaotra lake region of Madagascar is known as the Malagasy rice barn, responsible for approximately 9% of the nation's entire rice production and a key food supplier for the capital city. As early as the 1930s, projects focused on improving the rice production in this area began. First, ploughing, rice transplantation and use of fertilizers were introduced. Later, in the 1960s, herbicides and line planting started to be used. Development projects continued to be implemented until, in the 1970s, after achieving independency, the Malagasy government actively invested in the region as part of a conscious goal to end dependency on rice imports and to become a self-sufficient nation. This goal was never going to be easy to achieve. Indeed, in a region with general tenure insecurity, erosive agricultural techniques and poor irrigation schemes, there have long been serious threats to the rice barn's production levels. The area also has to deal with a range of climatic and socio-economic issues. Its long history of immigration has led to an overuse of local natural resources. Rainfall is irregular, ranging from 50 to 1,500 millimetres per year. There are frequent, short and violent thunderstorms which lead to flooding and soil erosion. And with its hot, dry season and warm, wet season, the region's hillsides also suffer from the geological erosion phenomenon known as lavaca. Conservation agriculture was chosen by the BV-LAC project for technical and economic reasons. The initiators wanted to find solutions to the challenges faced by the region, and the region's farmers had always shown an interest in receiving more information and technical support. The project was financed by the French Development Agency and the Malagasy government. At €15 million, it was a huge investment for the area. The lifespan of the project, initially proposed to be 5 years but ultimately extended to 10, was also unusually long. The French Research Institute CIRAD instigated the project, but the work was directed and carried out by approximately 20 local stakeholders, organised into several work groups, sorted by theme. These themes, or issues on which the project would be focused, included land security, farming technologies, livestock agriculture integration, hydro-agricultural infrastructures, access to credit, land use planning, and farmer training in the conservation agriculture principles. Also involved in the project were 150 international researchers and teachers, 50 Malagasy researchers from the University of Antananarivo, and 50 French and Malagasy interns. In 2008, after running for 5 years, a decision was made to extend the BV-LAC project. Those involved in the project now tried to take the lessons they had learned from the first period and improve practices in the second. Originally, the project had promoted intensive inputs. Due to the doubled price of fertilizers in 2008, however, the project had to change strategy, and it started to develop cropping systems with no or low use of fertilizers. This slowed down results as conservation agriculture technologies were designed to show better results in high-input systems. With the extension of the project, the need for tenure security was also highlighted, and those involved with the project tried to work closely with the Malagasy government's national plan to provide land certificates at low cost. In addition, the project tried out different microcredit systems. Those with collateral security seemed particularly successful. During the second half of the project, the advisors also tried to focus more on the general setup of the farming household. They changed from a plot-orientated approach to a farm system-orientated approach. For example, the project started providing advisory services for farmers based on integrated farm system modelling and prospective analysis. The project also set up a reference network for monitoring farm systems. Anecdotally, the farmers' response to the promoted conservation agriculture principles was positive. Statistically, however, out of the 3,000 farmers who were monitored and trained in the project, only 600 were found, 5 years after the project end, to have adopted and still be effectively using all 3 conservation agriculture principles. So, why did only a minority of the farmers adopt all three of the conservation agriculture principles? Several explanations for this low adoption rate have been postulated over the years since the project end, many of them relating to the technical complexity of techniques such as cropping patterns and crop rotation. There are, however, two other key explanations offered for the low adoption rate. 1. The mindset of the farmers. It is important to realise what a significant change of perspective and attitude was expected of the farmers. The farmers in the Alaotra Lake region were used to a short-term perspective when planning their farming activities. The benefits of conservation agriculture technologies would not have been immediately apparent, especially when implemented in low-input farming systems. To see the results and thus be motivated to permanently adopt the three principles, the farmers needed to be patient and to plan their farming activities several years ahead of time. 2. The amount of training involved. The second likely explanation for the low adoption rate is thought to be the amount of time that it took the farmers to learn about and fully understand the conservation agriculture technologies. Despite the exceptionally long 10-year running time of the project as a whole, the 3 to 5 year training time period per farmer allowed within the confines of the project's duration was simply not long enough. Most of the farmers needed more time to become confident, competent, and independent users of the technologies. To conclude, the BV-LAC project resulted in many farmers from the Alaotra Lake region adopting agroecological techniques they had not used previously. The adoption rate of all three of the conservation agriculture principles, however, was low. It is thought that the main reasons for this low uptake were social or psychological rather than technical. On the face of it, the adoption results of the project suggest a limited success. What is yet to be properly analysed, however, is the number of farmers involved in the project who chose to adopt only one or two of the three conservation agriculture techniques. Perhaps then, the project was more successful than first appears.